The hardest part for everyone in this new era of personal branding is to understand that the core of it is you, not your knowledge. Hi, I'm Jason Drees. Welcome to the Do the Impossible podcast. Join me every Monday at 10 a.m. Central, and I will align your mindset on my Monday Mindset Reset call. To sign up, go to mondaymindsetreset.com. mondaymindsetreset.com. On today's coaching session, I have one of my favorite clients. Her name is Karen Chanel. She's a highly successful multi-business entrepreneur, has been successful in many ways. She's been working with me for quite a few years. She's learned the process of alignment and yet still gets out of alignment. That's why she's still in coaching. Because when you're growing and expanding at your full capacity, you do spend a lot of time out of alignment because alignment creates growth, and growth creates misalignment. So there's a process over and over again about getting into alignment. And right now, Karen is looking in a new direction in her business of marketing and her own personal branding, and had some resistance around starting her own podcast. So this episode here shows me coaching Karen into alignment, back into her strengths, and reframing what she saw as a limitation as something not even to worry about. See what you can learn from this episode here. Karen, good to see you.
Awesome to see you.
Excellent. Nice day. So what do you want coaching on today? It's been a week or two since we chatted last time?
It has. So the last time we chatted, you told me that I was talking to you about possibly getting on a podcast. And I was originally looking at an arrangement where I would be one of 5 hosts that would be on every week. And you said to me that you didn't think that was really the right fit for me, and that I really needed to go big and get on my own podcast. And ever since you said that, even when you said it, like I wanted to puke because I was so hung up on this idea of being on a podcast. And what made it even worse was you were like, because we were talking about the topic of it, and I know a ton about short-term rentals, and that's a very easy thing for me to talk about. And that was sort of where I was heading with it. But then you said to me, well, you need to talk about yourself, which made me puke even more. So I think I clearly have this problem with being seen, some insecurities. And I think it would be a good thing to talk about that today. I know this possibly could be on your podcast. And I suspect there's a lot of people that are dealing with the same, I don't know if you want to call it an insecurity or hang up, but I think a lot of people, especially in today's age of social media, like you have to promote yourself, and everyone's telling you to get on Facebook and make videos and reels. And I bet you there's a whole lot of people out there struggling just like me with the whole idea of like being seen and this fear of like looking like an idiot and not doing the exact right thing. And so another thing you and I talk about a lot is like trying to find that one thing that you can work on or do that's going to slingshot you in every area of all your businesses. Mm-hmm. And I think that I've been to all kinds of seminars and lots of training on this, and everyone you talk to is like, you need to be on social media. You need to be like up in front of the camera. And I am pushing back so hard on this. It's even to the point where I have an amazing team that supports me. And I said, y'all need to manage me. I just can't do this. And so they went in and they scheduled these things on my calendar. They created the content that I was going to talk about. They gave me the schedule, and I don't do it. Like it gets time, 9:00 comes, and I'm like, oh, look, there's a client. Let me call him back. Like making any excuse not to do it. So I think I need some coaching around that, because clearly I have a lot of resistance to it. I'm very resistant to it, but at the same time, it really excites me because I know like this is the next logical thing that I need to be doing for my businesses.
What specifically is? Being
more seen like out in social media, whether it's this podcast that you and I were talking about, or even just like making like a Facebook reel on something really simple.
Do you want to do that?
Yes.
So you do want to do social media or podcast or be seen or more marketing of you to the world?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Do you think you should, or do you know you should?
I know I should.
But do you know you should because you think you should? Okay.
Yes.
Like, is it possible for your business to grow and expand in your reach without it?
I don't think so. I really don't. Not given. No. Nope. I really don't. Not if you want to. Could it grow? Yes. Would it grow as quickly as I want it to and as easily as I wanted to? No. So I feel like it's a necessity.
What do you want? Like, Is there anything preventing you from doing that now?
The degree of anxiety that I have over doing it, like just this fear that I have of just people seeing me and judging me and not. I think it all stems back to this whole idea of like what I would do might not be good enough, and it's just I'm even having a hard time describing it. It's a big one. It's a big thing. Probably not to you because you've already been through all this year, but it's tough.
What specifically are we talking about? Being seen?
Being seen, yes.
Are people seeing you now?
Eventually, I guess they'll hear this podcast and they'll hear me. And I tend not to have problems with podcasts because it's a conversational thing and it's two people talking, and it seems to be the whole focus isn't on me. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea of like just like self-promotion, like, oh my God, it is like just terrifying to me. Terrifying.
So what if you don't do self-promotion?
Well, what I was hung up on was like you were saying, one of the topics. So instead of doing short-term rental topics, which I'm really good at, and I have a ton of guests already lined up for, you were saying perhaps I should do something that's more about kind of like my process and what I do in my business. And to me, that just feels very egocentric. And I don't think that there's that much unique or special about what I do that anyone's going to care about. I've been struggling with that ever since you said it to me. But like I can tell you like a ton of stuff about short-term rentals that I think is really valuable and will help people make a lot of money. I'm really just conflicted about the whole thing. I don't know if it's the topic that's bothering me or if it's the idea of being seen that's bothering me. Yeah,
I can see you. Like, this is so not you to be this rattled by this. This is interesting.
Yeah. And you probably don't remember this, but you and I were having like a sidebar conversation last fall, and you were talking about like what a great time you were having with your podcast. And you said to me, yeah, maybe you need to go start a podcast. You said that. And then like a week later, one of my assistants said to me, Karen, you need a podcast. Like it was two things in like a week. And that's what I was like, okay, like I really probably, these are two people that I really trust and care about. I probably need to be doing this. But here I sit in the land of inaction.
I'm sensing you're saying resistance to self-promotion.
Yes.
And you don't want to be that guy or that woman, right?
Yep.
That used car salesman out there. But what is the podcast? What is personal branding? What is getting out there really about?
If I was to do this, I'm doing it because, I mean, clearly, like I have a lot of businesses, and it would be awesome if people found these other businesses that I have because they heard me on my own podcast, right? Most people who do podcasts are looking to get some kind of a lead conversion into a funnel and sell things. And I mean, there is some of that, but then I think there's so many things that I know or that I have done that could help people. I half think that. I'm not 100% bought into that. I think if I was, this wouldn't be such a problem for me. I just don't want people to think that I'm on here to just talk about myself all day long, because it could so easily fall into that. And that's not what I want. Like, I want to help people. I want to inspire people. You know, my big thing is I quit my W-2 job and all of that fun stuff. And I became an entrepreneur, and I have all these businesses. I think there's a lot of value there. I just don't know really, like I'm stuck on, when I think about like trying to sit down and even come up with like a topic lineup or how I would address this or do this without like, what is the angle that you take? I can't think of anything. I get like, I freeze up, you know. But if you tell me to write up something on short-term rentals, honestly, I have 28 different short-term rental podcast ideas. I think that there's some danger if I do that one that it's going to get lost in the noise because it's very business oriented and 1,000,001 people are talking in short-term rentals right now.
Can you be more specific on what you want me to assist you with?
Well, maybe first help me figure out, what your assessment of sort of what you think my hang up is. Because I keep thinking it's fear of being seen, but you've been listening to me rattle on here for 10 minutes. You probably have a different idea of where I'm stuck or what it actually is. So maybe some help with that, like just diving to the core of like, what really is the thing that's holding me back here, and where do I need to work on? Well,
it is a little bit of fear of being seen, right? There's that newness, and this is expansion, and that's exactly why you should be going this direction. And when you hear life say the word podcast to you in the same week from different people, that's life saying you need to start a podcast. Mm-hmm. So you're on the right track. Now, the fear of being seen is coming up a little bit, but it sounds to me like that's kind of not the primary thing. What I'm hearing is that you haven't really found the reason and your method for communicating with your audience and why, right? Because if this is marketing
If it's outreach, if it's branding, it's marketing. And if it's to generate business or lead generation, it's communicating with your audience. So you need to learn how to communicate with your audience in the medium and the format that works best for you. And you're throwing out there your references to cold calling and car salesmen and stuff like that, and you're attaching them to that because that's your brain's reference points for marketing stuff that's in your brain, because we've all been conditioned that way. And just like you heard me tell my story about how I sucked at lead gen and then how I learned to start the process of becoming amazing at lead generation was literally me understanding what it really was to me. So for me, it's really communication to my audience. So I think it's a little bit being seen, but I really think you haven't dug deep enough to figure out what you're really doing and why you're doing it.
You were supposed to answer all my questions, not give me the question of life to go figure out on here.
It doesn't work as good if I give it to you.
I mean, I think this ties to, one of my major, my life's purpose is to, have a dynasty of family businesses, create long-term sustainable wealth for my family, and have a freaking awesome time doing it. The size and the volume of the different businesses we have. I mean, that's really why I would be doing this, is to just
for marketing. Yeah.
For marketing. I mean, to draw people into our funnels, the different ones that we have, and help people that way, give them a service that I think they really need. So I think that's my goal and my purpose of it, which is why I struggle with the whole idea of why talking about myself and my process really helps any of my businesses, right? Because I don't have a consulting business right now. I would be open to consulting, but it's not something I'm specifically marketing at this point, which is why I was so heavily focused on the short-term rental topic, because so much of what we do here, at least in the Smokies, is tied to short-term rentals.
What if what you're after right now is also a new phase, a new journey, a new direction, not just an answer you get today? Because I know you like to move quickly and you like the answer and to be fixed today. But what if this is a process of figuring out how to do your podcast, how to communicate with social media or whatever that marketing piece is? Because when I first started the podcast, it was in person and I didn't like how it went. And then I stopped it and then I restarted again. And my podcast episodes now, most of them are 15 minutes, which is not the traditional method. Most of them, I don't even have guests. So that was my process.
I actually really like the format of yours. I think 15 minutes is perfect. There's a couple other ones out there that are 15 that I listen to, and I really like it a lot. It's what you're trying to say, that the whole process thing and this being part of the process, it's really sort of me on my journey to figuring out the exact right way to do this.
Yes. You're looking for the specific answer to how to do the podcast that gets you the impact that is possible and also doesn't make you feel terrified like you're a used car salesman, or basically you're looking for the answer and the answer isn't available right now because you're still in the process. So this is the DTI framework step 5. This is the process framework.
Yeah.
You in the process. Can you figure out how to do a podcast?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've got the mechanics of it nailed down already.
Well, yeah, but the content, the you part, can you figure out how to create a podcast that expands your reach, isn't self-promoting, that you feel good about, that's uniquely you, and adds a lot of value to those who hear it? Can you figure that out?
And I don't know the answer, and that's probably what's terrifying me, because you're right. I like to move quick, and normally I feel a great sense of urgency around doing this too. I know I need to get this going. I have no inspiration around it. It just, that lightning bolt moment you get most of the time, and you're just bang, I know exactly what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I usually get those pretty quick, especially with something I feel aligned with. And I do feel really aligned with doing this. The lightning bolt's not coming. There's no thunder. There's nothing. There's no rain. It's just dry.
No, not yet. The lightning bolt here is going to come after.
Hopefully it'll come after this coaching session.
You have to walk the path.
I know. I just, lacking inspiration, I guess. I just don't know. I don't know how to do it, because you see so many other people doing it and you wanted to. And here's the other thing, some of the podcasts that I looked at being on as a host, like they're not getting any reach. They're not. And I'm like, I don't want to be that person. Like, I really want this thing to just take off pretty quick. And so I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself for that too, I think.
This last 5 minutes should be part of your podcast. I'm supposed to start a podcast. I'm Karen. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I know. Like, that's real. The hardest part for everyone in this new era of personal branding is to understand that the core of it is you, not your knowledge, because that's what's going to stand out. Because, and not to downplay what you've done, it's real estate. It's not a new form of science that doesn't exist or something, right? So it's already out there. It's going to drown away if you start talking right away. What's going to stand out is a fiery redhead going, hey, oh my God, how'd I do this? And like the raw, candid you. But so if it's like, what if you shifted the focus on the podcast on content and results to entertainment?
That would be kind of cool, actually. That's a great idea. Because to me, that would come very natural. Like you said that, and I instantly I aligned with it.
Yes.
I aligned with it right away. And I think there's a way too to talk about the content and in an entertaining way, right? Like people tend to get very attached to like if you tell a story or you try to make it more relatable. Maybe that's the angle I need to come in at is I really like that. That's a great idea. Just make it more entertaining for people. Because that would be very natural to me. When you said that, like all the pressure went off. Suddenly, if you come at it from an entertainment angle, you don't feel as much pressure to be the subject matter expert because it's entertainment, right? And you can take it or leave it. You can believe it or not believe it. It's entertainment. I really like that. I think that's really okay. Breakthrough taken. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah. I was reading, there's this speaker I've been following. He's Australian and he's a speaker and he has amazing content. His name is Vin Zhang. He's got 1 million Instagram followers. And he was saying something about, I've been following him loosely because he has a really interesting stuff about speaking. And he was saying when you're speaking, you should entertain and you should inspire and you should educate.
In that order?
Yeah. A lot of really cool stuff. And because the content's there, but it's like the audience will connect with you. And that authentic piece is hard. It's challenging to get the authentic, well, it was for me, to get the authentic me out without the marketing being in there, trying to find the balance of those. And that's why you've seen my social media change so much as I'm trying to continually evolve it so the right message is coming out. And it's a process. Maybe you'll hit it from the first try. I don't know.
I think too, when I think about, I love your podcast, by the way. It is one of my favorite ones, and it's not just because it's you and I love you to pieces. But the things when you're talking to people too in your podcast, you do entertain because you talk about your personal situation. You say Alexis did this or that, or my boys, and I think that when you do things like that, like I instantly latch on. I almost pay more attention. It's kind of weird. Like your ear like up a little more. You're like, oh, okay. Like this is like a personal thing. This is really cool. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the entertainment aspect that you're bringing. And I really like it. I think that's a really great idea and a really fun angle to come at it with, Oh, I think that's a good suggestion and I appreciate it. And I think that feels a lot lighter to me than just sitting here and like trying to like drone out all this content on this business related stuff, which, a lot of people don't find very interesting.
There you go.
All
so
right.
What's the next step?
I still like my list of topics and the people that I'm going to talk to, but I think that my angle for coming at it is going to be entirely different because most of my podcasts, I've got people that I'm very comfortable with, like a conversational interview style format. I would like to keep that. But come at it more from make it more relatable to like something that I did or something that I experienced with one of my clients or, something that I personally know about. So it's more relatable to me or maybe even the other person on the podcast. Right. But essentially just change the angle that I was going to come at it because we're going to be meeting. My team will meet before we even have any of the interviews and kind of talk through like what we're going to ask the person and how we're going to stage it all. So I don't want to make it too staged, but I don't want to show up not prepared either. So, but I think that's really going to kind of put a different set of filters on kind of how we interact with the guests and how the information is presented, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To try to make it more relatable to people. Like, why does it matter?
That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you have fun too?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rip. Everyone that I have down that I want to talk to, I love these are cool people. These are people that I know that I met through our inner circle, or
Yeah.
I met them at other events, and they know every one of them knows a ton of stuff about what we're going to talk about, and they all have a very different perspective. And I think too, like I want to make a lot of it about mindset too, because so much of where I'm at today has to do with mindset. So there's probably going to be some kind of like, how people have like their top 3 questions or whatever they ask every guest. There'll be some kind of question interspersed in there about mindset, because I think that is so important and fundamental, especially like without mindset coaching and the stuff that I've done with you, I would never be like where I am right now today. And I just think that that's such a key component of anything that anyone does. And so many of the business podcasts out there, they don't really ever talk about that. They're very just execution, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they don't ever really talk a lot about mindset. So I think I'm going to bring some of that in there too, which will make it a lot more personable.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear it.
Well, I hope you listen to it. Rate me real high. That would be cool.
I will. Yes. So you sound aligned.
I am. Yeah. Like I feel good. I feel way better. The knot in my stomach is gone.
So it had nothing to do with being seen.
No, I thought it did, but that wasn't it at all. You're right.
Okay.
Oh, I like it. Okay. This is good.
Yay. You good?
I'm good. Yes. Thank you.
All right, Karen. It was great to connect with you today. I will talk to you soon.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you starting to see how powerful coaching is? Go to freeintrosession.com and my team will walk you through a Do the Impossible goal setting session to help you get aligned with the right target, to make sure you're pointed in the right direction. Go to freeintrosession.com. Until next episode, I'm Jason Drees with Jason Drees Coaching. I will see you there. Take care.